este episodio recibimos a Yogesh Karikurve. Yogi es un profesional corporativo y un entrenador certificado en felicidad y teatro aplicado. Él ha trabajado en la industria de la moda, alimentación y cine durante más de 20 años. Ha inspirado a personas alrededor de los 7 continentes a ser felices, motivándolas a hacer cosas que aman. Fue jefe de un canal de videolística en Asia y estudió mucho sobre la felicidad durante este periodo. En su reciente viaje a la Antártida, hizo felices a viajeros de más de 23 países con sus talleres de baile y ritmo. Fiel a su nombre, utiliza elementos de yoga, pranayama, danza, percusiones, teatro, artes, entre otras, para lograr una transformación en su audiencia. Es ingeniero y tiene un MBA en los Estados Unidos. También es poeta, entusiasta de la vida y ha viajado a más de 50 países en todos los continentes para promover la felicidad y la armonía. Acompáñanos a descubrir a Yogi.
Welcome.
Welcome to La Gran Vida, Yogesh. How are you?
Muchas gracias. Estoy muy bien. I'm very good. I'm in Mumbai, India.
How's weather there? Tell us a little bit about Mumbai. For those who haven't been there, where do you live? How is it?
So Mumbai is I think it's one of the best cities in India. It's also a very cosmopolitan city. People from different races, different cultures mingle here. And Mumbai is known for its spirit. It's known for a spirit called as the Mumbai spirit. And the spirit is that people are always happy and they are very calm and they don't let any negative thing affect them. So I'm sure you must have heard of there are a couple of things that happened here like really bad in 93 and later on in 2006 or so, where there were terrorist attacks on Mumbai twice. And but once that happened, the city bounced back in like less than 24 hours. Okay, so that's the spirit of Mumbai, and it's
So
unlike most.
the spirit of Mumbai must be like very lovely, nice people, or how do you define the
Yes,
spirit of Mumbai?
yes. So it is. The people are very friendly, and they don't distinguish much between the rich and the poor. So you have slums in what you call favelas in one area, and the very next building is a skyscraper with very rich people. So so it's a combination. There is no separate area for rich and separate area for the poor, which I have seen in many countries, many cities. Here it's all together. There is also the best thing about Mumbai is, and I have traveled very extensively across India and across the world also to many cities. But what I see in Mumbai is that there are a couple of differences and it makes it fun to live in. It is like a straight line, you know. It's like the country of Chile. It's like straight.
Yeah.
So you have to pass through all the things to go on to the next leg. So you can't go like this or like that. And it is right next to the sea, and it makes it very interesting because it's right next to the sea. But within a couple of hours drive, you can reach the hills, and that's again a very good thing as well. So you can have the best of everything. The weather, yes, we say Mumbai has three seasons: hot, hotter, and hottest.
And you are in the hot on the hottest.
Yeah.
And where are you now?
Where are you now?
Right now, I'm in the hot. So it's actually the winter, but the weather is between 25 and 30 degrees. Okay.
Okay. It's very nice.
Yes, it's very nice. It just a few like just last week it was between 20 and 30, so it was even nicer. But now it is like got back to 25 and 30, and towards summer it gets into 35, 40 degrees.
Wow.
Okay. It's normally around 35, 40. But the best part is the monsoon. Mumbai is also known for the monsoon. So
Oh
on
yeah,
one, it rains very heavily for a few days and stops the whole city because the whole city is flooded. Okay,
yeah. That's the monsoon.
that's the monsoon. But like I told you, people enjoy it. So they go out, they make paper boats, and they have the food that you are supposed to have in monsoon. And like I told you, close to Mumbai are the hills. So they go to the hills and enjoy the weekends there. And yes, they do fuss a little, saying that there are potholes in on the roads, and it's difficult to go to office. But at the end of the day, they sleep very well. They don't have any issues. And I think monsoon is the most romantic time in Mumbai as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Honestly, it reminds me a lot of my college days. Uh, you know, so yeah,
You're loving college days.
yes, my love.
Definitely.
So
Hey, Yogesh,
Joey.
what's the population on Mumbai? The
uh, population of Mumbai is around 20 million.
20 million.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay, it's a big city
But it's a
like,
polluted city.
yeah, Mexico and
yeah, it's a
Sao
big city with.
Paulo and New York.
Yes, yes. And in the last 20 years or maybe more, uh, there is Mumbai, and the outskirts has also been developed, and it's called New Mumbai. Yes.
Okay,
So,
Okay.
so there is Mumbai and New Mumbai, which has made the city much bigger.
Wow.
interesting. Well, I don't know
Sorry.
if we should start
Yeah.
with uh, for those who doesn't know Yogesh.
What would you say
We
about it?
know you. We have seen you. We've been watching what you've been doing. But for those who doesn't know you,
What do they need to know about you?
who
Yes,
is Yogesh? Why should they trust you?
yes. So I think I would like to call myself Yogi. So Yogesh is a yogi, and yogi has a lot of significance in India. The word yogi itself has a lot of significance, but let me put it my way. I'm an explorer of life. I love to
Mm.
experience different things in life and learn from them. And life never stops teaching, and I think we should never stop learning from life. So I'm a big explorer of life. I'm very curious. I like to check out new things and incorporate the good things in my life as well. Second thing, more important, which describes me, I'm a traveler. I have traveled to different places in India, across India. I have traveled extensively in India, whether it's the beaches, the hills, the rivers, the holy places, the party places, everywhere. And I have traveled to different places across countries and continents. So just to tell you, I finished more than 50 countries last year, and all the 7 continents, including Antarctica. But what I love most while traveling is not just going and living in 5 stars and in luxury, but actually meeting the local people and understanding the life and the journeys. And that makes me, I think, more intelligent. Rather than, of course, I do read books, but rather than just reading books, I experience life on a first hand basis by interacting with people. So I can understand them better and I can exchange information with them. And finally, more importantly, I think I'm an artist. I'm an artist with a soul, and the most important part of my art is dance. I love to live a creative life and pursue different interests like music, dancing, theater, etc. But I think dancing has been my identity for a long, long time. And I have also used this important tool to make others happy. In fact, recently there has been a research in Australia which says that dancing is the most important thing for de-stressing. It's even more important than all the other sciences or tools, including yoga and other things. Like you just put on the music and dance. And I'm sure Mexicans also know this very well because when I was
Oh
in
yeah.
Mexico,
We do, we do, we do.
yeah, because when I was in Mexico, I have enjoyed a lot of dancing there as well. But just to tell you something about my journey, my career started in a very conventional manner in India. In those days in India, I'm like 50 now. So in those days in India, which was the late the 80s and the 90s, India was very different than what you see now. The only two respectable professions in India was that you are either a doctor or an engineer. So I decided that I'll
Okay.
be an engineer. So I became a production engineer, and by that time, it was also prestigious to do an MBA. So I did an MBA, not just once but twice. Once in India with one of the most premium institutions, and then in the University of Iowa in USA. And after all these things, I came back to India, and then I saw that that's when my life started actually. That's when I started observing and living life, looking at people, understanding what it is all about, understanding what is corporate life. Because till you are studying, you are somewhat cocooned and protected by your parents and your family. But once you are out in the big bad world, is when you realize how life develops. So I was very keen on observing my life and others as well. And that time I worked for several corporates in food, fashion, and film industry. So that gives you everything about life, right? You understand what is life for the celebrities, you understand what is life for common people, and you understand the life in between as well. But when I was working for corporates, there was always what we call it as a rat race, right? We call it a rat race in English. It's always about making more money, achieving more success, and there was no end to it.
That's the race that everyone gets caught by
Yeah,
college. So
yeah,
you have to have more. You have to create more money. You have to go
yes,
faster than the guy besides you. Okay.
yes. And I felt that there was absolutely no end to it. Like the more I did it, the more I wanted it. Okay, but then there was also a lot of stress that affected me. Yeah, I mean, we all out there working, partying, whatever, work hard, party harder, they say. And once I come back, I would be stressed, and I would not realize that it is stressing me. It's over a period of time that I realize that it's affecting my health, my physical health, my mental health, sleeplessness, and little things which come with age as well. I like they say it's not the age, but
There will
Okay.
be
Okay.
there will be many people, from our audience, identifying with your story,
Oh yeah.
that works a lot, try to get a lot of money and many things, but feeling tired, stressed, burnout, and
yes,
And not happy.
and not happy.
yeah. And I always say that it's not the age, but it's the mileage that counts.
Oh
So,
yeah. Of course.
yeah, yeah.
It's about how many miles you have.
Yeah. And like you say, it's not the amount of breath you take, but it's the movements that you create that take your breath away. Yeah.
That's right.
So I started looking at life differently, and I thought that there has to be a solution. Okay, and that took me on a journey of. I went to different spiritual teachers, different kinds of ashrams, different kind of things that a normal man would want to do, but probably doesn't have time. I took out the time and I did that, and I realized that the happiness lies within us, and we don't have to look outwards for happiness. And
Okay.
that changed my life. Okay, so I
Wow.
got into myself and I started seeing where what makes me happy. So of course, the first thing that made me happy was dancing. And when I started dancing more, I realized that not only am I happy, but I'm making others happy. And they come to me and say, "Oh, are you a teacher? Can you teach us to dance?" Blah 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 blah. And I used to tell them, "Give me 1 hour, and you'll be dancing here." So they used to come and tell me, "We have two left feet," and I used to tell them, "Give me that 1 hour, and I will get your left feet right."
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So, and they used to love it. And I realized that I have this superpower of making people happy. And actually, I wanted to tell others that everyone has the superpowers of making themselves happy and making the other people happy. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what kind of started my journey towards happiness. And then I was thinking, what would be a good name? Because just by going around and saying that Yogesh makes you happy or Yogi makes you happy, doesn't.
It's not very, it's not very clinchy.
Yeah. So I came across that, in a factory, you put in raw materials and there are lots of processes, and
You
then a final product comes out, right? Whether
Okay.
whichever factory. I thought that humans are like this. When they come to me, they have everything within themselves, but they come to me and I try and help them think differently, do things differently, and do fun things which makes them happy, and they come out as a happy product. Okay, so I
Oh yeah,
thought,
you get two left feet, and then
and
you have one right and one
you
left.
come out with two
yeah,
feet, but one left and one right. It's
yeah. So I
interesting.
said, let me call it a happiness factory. So
Mhm.
that is where the name, the happiness factory, came into play, and then the journey started. So this
And
is how the transformation happened.
for those who doesn't know what's the happiness factory, you told already the story about how you give life to the happiness factory, but what's like the mission of the happiness factory? What is this organization that you create?
Yes. So it is said that happiness is the key to life. Okay. And when I say
Okay.
this, it's a very important sentence because uh, in normal terminology, the state that a human being is in a normal state is the state of happiness, where he's breathing normally and all the functions, bodily functions, are happening normally. It is when he is given a negative impulse. Okay, so and there are only two kinds of impulse in the world. There are only two major emotions in the world. One is love and the other one is fear. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all the negative emotions fall under fear: anxiety, stress, jealousy, everything. So you are jealous because someone else you think is having more than you are. You are anxious because things are not happening. You're fearing that things are not happening the way you want them to happen. So every negative emotion can be put under fear, and every positive emotion can be put under love. And this is love that gives us happiness. So, how do you create more love and how do you make more happiness? Is the whole objective of the happiness factory. And I've always been a happy person in general. Like I said, people have normally seen me on social media or otherwise having a great time, singing, dancing, traveling, exploring life. And I thought for a long time that it was normal for everyone to live the way I did. But I didn't realize that people don't live the way I live.
No,
Es-
not at all.
yeah. Especially during my corporate stint, I realized that people tend to be very unhappy, but they don't show it. Okay. And they are unhappy because they don't get what they want. So they are always running after something. And hence, despite being surrounded by people, they feel lonely. And especially after they become a little older, they feel more lonely because they feel no one understands me, I'm not getting what I want to get, and everything. Okay? And in India, just like Mexico, we have a culture of music, dancing during all our functions and festivals. I used to dance, and a lot of people used to be very happy watching me dance, and when I make them dance with me. So, like I told you, this is how I started the Happiness Factory. But then I slowly added different things to it, like drumming, theater, arts, storytelling. And I realized that all these things combined together create a good atmosphere for people to be happy and think happy. Of course, there is a lot of theory about happiness also that we incorporate in all these activities, and we try and connect it to nature because we humans have come from nature, and when we cease to exist, when we die, We go back to nature in some way or the other, whether we are buried or
That's a
in.
cycle. That's the cycle of life.
Yeah, that's the cycle of life. So one of the things that we do is we also connect people to nature, especially when we see places that have natural capacity. Okay? In India, and I'm sure in the villages in Mexico as well, a lot of people live in smaller towns and villages. And if you look at them, they have less money, but they are very happy, more happier than actually.
They have more. They have more time. They have more
Yes,
family.
Family. Mhm.
Yeah,
yes,
they have everything they
Essentials.
need in a very close areas. That's
in a very close
Essentials.
that's
area.
right.
And
Yeah.
and you know why they are happy? Because they don't compare themselves to other people. They don't compare themselves to a person from the city or a big skyscraper.
Yeah, I let me stop you for a second because
Sure.
there are a couple of things that are very significant to me. When you talk about fear and love, uh, I always go in my head to a book named Conversations with God. I don't know if
Yes.
you hear about with Neil Donald Walsh. And this Neil Donald Walsh talks about this, that there are only two choices. You have to choose of love or fear. And this one will take you all of the beautiful things in the world, or I can say the universe, are because of love. And the opposite of love is not hate. The
Yeah.
opposite of love is fear. Because
Yes.
due to fear, you can you can ruin everything in your life, not because of hatred, because of fear, because
Yes.
having this feeling, you uh, take away your possibilities. So
Mhm.
it's very significant for me that you mentioned uh,
Options,
these two
possibilities.
options only.
So I will give you a very good example of it, a real life example that I keep talking about. You know, everyone, especially in developing countries, especially in India, and I'm sure quite a bit in Mexico as well, everyone works in jobs. Most of the people have jobs, right? And if you ask them, so when are you going to travel, or when are you going to do this, or when are you going to do that, which you always wanted to do,
When I
you will
get
always,
retired.
yeah, you'll always hear that. No, you will hear that they will say, yeah, yeah, we are saving money. We will retire and we will start doing everything. We'll start traveling the world after we retire. Okay.
Maybe
And I have
thinking.
known people who have died before retiring.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
there's the most popular thing. They
exactly.
work all life and
Yeah,
They
they
retirement.
never retire.
exactly. So my point is that there is, if you are always scared that what will happen after I retire, or if you are saving money only for retirement, you are not living today. And today is very important. So every day in the morning when I wake up, I think, what am I going to do today, which is going to improve my life a little bit or take me to the next level. Of course, I don't mean that you should not plan for tomorrow, but over planning, over getting psyched is a problem. So, like I always say, um, what happens to you, you cannot control, but you can control the reaction of what happens to you.
Definitely,
You know what?
and the present moment is the only moment. Sorry.
No, that's
Exactly,
it.
So
exactly.
when you talk about, um, I know that planning is important. We understand that, but you cannot miss what is happening to you today, because if
Yes,
you miss it today, there will be no tomorrow.
Yeah, the thing is, you plan for the future, but you live today.
That's
yeah.
right.
That's
And you know, it's another. I mean, this is one observation that I have from life. So when a person is alive, he's called by the name. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm Yogi, you are Oscar, she's Aleli. We are all have names when we are alive. The moment we die, we are called a dead body.
The body.
Body.
just just the body.
Just the
You're
body.
you're you're not Yogi anymore. And
I'm not
you know
Yogi anymore. I'm just a
you
body. And
Yeah.
the reason is that we are alive because our soul is alive.
yeah, because the inner you, not the this is
Yeah,
just what we used to discuss, Aleli and myself, is that this is
Costume.
like a custom. The real you is inside of you.
And
yeah.
inside and around you, but it's that energy that you create, that you live,
Aura.
that you,
Yeah.
huh?
The aura. The aura.
The
The
And
aura, the aura and the
oh,
thing that makes you move and it makes you
and all
think
the
and makes you love.
dynamics that you generate with your movements,
yes.
this is energy, and this energy is yourself.
Your
Yeah. And,
soul.
and, and you always see during a funeral or something that people come and say good things about that person. Okay. 90% at least, they say very good things about that person. And a lot of people will come and say, oh, I missed meeting him, I should have met him. I always say, why, if you feel like it, if you feel like knowing a person, if you know that that person is good and has done some good things, pick up a phone or go and meet that person, even better, and tell him or her when they are alive that how good they are, how nice they are, because that's how the energy is exchanged. Okay, here is another theory of mine, um, regarding love and happiness. Okay, this is according to the Newton's law of energy, which I learned in my science. Okay,
Okay.
uh, the sum amount of love in the universe is constant. Okay,
Yeah.
the sum amount of love in the universe is constant. Um, Love can be moved from one person to another. So today I can love someone, tomorrow I can love someone. Doesn't mean I have to hate that person, but the
That's right.
extra can. And and for any action of love, there will be an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, for any action of love, there will be an equal and opposite reaction, but not necessarily from the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You don't expect for someone specifically, because when you give love, you will
Yes,
receive love.
yes,
Gage and Michael Roach, the one that wrote the diamond, I don't know how you say in English, the tallador de diamantes. He talked about you plant a seed and the seed
Will grow.
will
Yeah.
grow, and the one who picks the fruits or the, I don't know, the product this plant may
yeah,
not be you, may be your
Yeah.
daughter or your,
Yeah.
no,
When you plant a tree, it's the same. You're planting that tree not for yourself, but for your grandson or for
for the
whomever
world,
needs.
for the world, for the
That's right.
universe,
That's an act of love, and that's very significant because uh, we in La Gran Vida we believe in love, but not love as the feeling
partnership
between
or,
between two person or two a partnership or a lovers. We believe that love is the source, the creator,
the
the
energy,
energy that forces everyone. So
yes,
we are love, and we
yes,
express
and share
ourselves
loves.
as love.
yeah.
Well, maybe you want to end with this
Yeah,
idea.
I had to tell you something. So there is a one saying in Sanskrit. Sanskrit is one of the oldest languages, right, in the world,
Yep.
and the whole of Indian culture is more or less derived from Sanskrit and the scriptures in Sanskrit. So we have a saying which says "Karimanye vadikaryaste ma faleshu kadach," which
That's
means
it.
do your duty but do not think about the results. Okay? This
Yes.
is the actual meaning. But if you look at it, it means that do your duty, because doing your duty is within your control.
Mm.
Looking at the fruit of
Results.
the labor, expecting something from it, is not within your control.
Mhm.
Okay, so and we have seen this in pandemic. Okay, And the best example is when we had this pandemic in 2020. So I remember in 2018, I was working for a multinational corporate in India. And we were making plans that by 2020, we need to double the revenues, triple the sales, and etc., 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 right? Amazing planning. But when 2020 happened, the other way happened. Like everything went half or one fourth, right? So that's
We
not
all were there.
Yeah.
yeah. So that is not within our control. The only thing which is in our control is the fact that we planned and we worked towards it. And I also know that I started the Happiness Factory just like 3 months before the pandemic in 2019. Okay,
Okay.
and uh, I couldn't do much in the next 3 years except do online workshops. Okay, but
Hmm?
but when I look at it positively. I am thinking that those online workshops that I did got me connected to more than 20, 30 countries. Okay, people joined from different countries. It also helped me better myself. I learned more. Like I told you, initially it was only dancing, but I got certified as a happiness coach during the pandemic. I learned theater, I learned arts, I learned storytelling, yoga, a lot of these things during those pandemic years. Okay? So if I look at it, I might not have made as much money during pandemic, which is fine. I improved my inner wealth, which I call it, during the pandemic.
You
Yeah,
have a different kind of richness, no?
it's a
Yes,
different kind of richness, definitely.
You know,
yes,
Yogi, you
yeah.
talk
So
about,
that is what I wanted to tell you. That whenever I am thinking about the Happiness Factory now, I'm also dipping into old Indian traditions, picking up the music, picking up the philosophy, picking up all these things, and I feel that the same can be done with Mexico, and we can collaborate. And that's one of the reasons I feel that this way of looking at happiness, which is not defined by the UN, or it does not have a formula, or it is, you can't quantify it. People ask me, can there be a happiness index? And I ask them, and I ask them, can you measure love? Can you tell how much you love your father or mother, or how much you love your wife or husband? Can you quantify it? You can say, oh, today I love them on a scale of 7 out of 10. Tomorrow I love them maybe 5 out of 10. No, we cannot. It is a feeling. Okay.
That's
And
right.
it's a positive feeling of love that creates happiness. And that is what we want to make people realize how to create it. It's not that they can't do it. It's just that because they are so stressed, they have forgotten things that are so simple. And we are there to build this thing using Indian methods, Indian culture, which I feel will benefit the whole world as well.
yeah.
Interesting. And just one more thought. Uh, and I think that one of the most important messages is that happiness, it is within you. You cannot find happiness outside of you. So
True.
one of the things that I really loved about your work, and the things you are telling us, is that helping these people to find the way inside to be happy. So I
Yes.
really love that,
Yeah.
Yogesh. Sorry.
No, yeah. We have a lot of things in common between Yogi and the La Gran Vida. That's why we um, feel attracted to you, to your work, to the Happiness Factory. And one thing you have shared with us is the happiness formula that you have been using for those days. All of those things you do, and as I saw, it's a very simple one, and but simple one. But I don't know if it's a simple to get it, or to to live through this formula. Can you share
Yeah.
us about it?
Yeah. So I was researching happiness, right? Okay. I was researching happiness, and I was thinking, what makes a person happy, or rather, let me put it the other way: what makes a person unhappy? Okay, what makes a person angry, sad, or whatever. Like you rightly said, the opposite of happy is not necessarily sadness. It can be a lot of different things. Okay.
Yes.
Um, when I look at it, I'm thinking, okay, today, why am I unhappy? I'm unhappy because I have put in so much of efforts to do something and it is not giving me the desired results. Okay. Tomorrow I'm unhappy. Why? Because of the same thing. It could be with a relationship. Well, I have been pursuing this girl for the longest time. She's not my girlfriend. Or I've been putting so much efforts to keep my father happy. He's still not happy. Or that's regarding relationships, right? Or it could be regarding work. I am putting in so much efforts at my job, but my boss is not seeing it, or I'm not getting the promotion. Okay. Or it could be anything regarding the thing. But the most important thing, what makes us unhappy, is that we put in efforts, or we may not put in efforts, but we desire a certain result, and that result is not happening. That is the only thing that makes us unhappy. Okay. And um, then I realized that, okay, if that makes us unhappy, how is it that we can be happy? So then I came across this equation, which is a very, very, very simple equation. Is that happiness is equal to reality minus expectations. Okay. So the more you understand reality, it becomes bigger, right? So it becomes positive. And the more you let your expectations be down or be at a level where you can manage it, that remains constant. So you are increasing reality, or like sometimes reality gives you more than what you expect. So then you are fine. You are anyway happy. But
Yeah.
sometimes reality does not give you more. So you have to understand reality in such a way that your understanding of reality becomes better and higher, and hence it becomes more than your expectations. Okay. So, for example, I went to the US to study long back, and I thought that I'm going to live in the US. You know, everyone those days had an American dream. So I did my MBA there, and I thought I'm going to live in the US. But when I graduated, the whole economy crashed. I'm talking about 2001, 2002, and then 9/11 happened. So there was no way I could do something that I loved in the US. I mean, of course, I could live there, I could do something to manage my life, but I was always very keen that I should be happy at any given point in time. So I came back here and I worked hard over the next years, and now I'm at a good position where I'm teaching this happiness and I'm doing certain other things in films, etc. Right? So what I learned when I look back, I thought that it's good that that thing happened. It is good that the economy crashed, because
Yeah.
otherwise I would not have come here. I would have still been there and maybe done something else which would not have made me that happy. Okay, so at any given point, the expectation and reality might not match. But if you look ahead and look backwards, like the clock said, the dots always join backward. You are what you are because certain things happened in your life and that made you a great person. Okay? If you don't look at the positive of it, you're always going to live a negative life. Okay? And that I think is a very key understanding of happiness. Happiness is not the absence of sadness. I repeat, happiness does not mean that you are not sad.
That you won't have any troubles. You will have troubles.
Yes, happiness means that you are mature enough to understand all your feelings and put them together and live life in a much more understanding manner. And that is also a thing that we can learn from our grandfathers or forefathers. Like if you talk to your people who are very senior in there, and they live the best lives. So there are zones called blue zones across the world where people live for 100 plus years. Okay,
Yeah.
and zones are, I mean, the Japan is a country where these zones are very popular, but they are also there in South America. They're also there in Asia, where people live for more than 100 years. And if you talk to them, the first thing that they will tell you is, yes, of course, you need to eat well and drink well and have enough of sunlight. But more importantly, you need to think right. Think right, you reduce your stress, you become more happy. And
Yeah,
that's the
and the quality of your relationships should match your life. So when you talk about this formula that I really love, being on the reality side means a lot of things, but one of those are like being conscious where
yes,
you are and what are your limits and
Yeah.
how far you can go.
And no,
yes,
continue.
Yeah.
And also, you made me think that in conclusion or in one phrase that what I need to learn or what you teach and preach is you are your happy place. I am my happy place.
yes, yeah. And one more thing, the same thing what our ancestors taught us has been converted into science as well. Okay, science also says the same thing. There are four hormones which are responsible for happiness: dopamine, oxytocin, yeah, and endorphin, and serotonin.
Mm-hmm.
These four hormones, if you realize, they're excreted in your body when you are in a state of calm and when you do good things. Okay, so dopamine when you kind of achieve something, often when you are doing acts of love, like when you are hugging, kissing, or just holding hands or being close to your loved ones. Endorphins when you exercise or go into the sunlight. So if you realize, the even chemistry, even modern science tells us the same thing. What our ancestors have told us is that be surrounded with good people and be close to them, have good happy thoughts, be out in the sunlight, have good food, and more importantly, do good activities, which is exercise and social
take
service.
care take care of your thoughts, because
Four pillars from
yeah, one of the things important is if you're thinking wrong, the result will be wrong,
your,
right?
Exactly.
having
And
garbage.
Yeah, garbage in, garbage out.
Mhm.
yeah, and very importantly, like which you all know, is that you need to be surrounded by good people, but you need to be surrounded by people, which means you need to have an active social
Definitely.
life. Yeah, because it's the community also which drives happiness. Otherwise, you tend to feel lonely and depressed. If you're lonely, if you're not able to connect with people, you are also feeling down because all the negative thoughts start coming to you. Harvard University of Harvard, they did a study and for 80 years about happiness, and they were following different families. Some of them even died during those 80 years, right? They're following different families and everything. And I recently met the guy who has been studying that for the last 40 years. His name is Dr. Robert Waldinger. And when I spoke to him and I asked him, what is it that they have come as a conclusion? He said one of the most important conclusions that have we have come regarding happiness is that people need to have a good social life. They need to have friends, they need to have family, and they need to be connected with them. Okay. And in my mind, I was thinking aloud, isn't this what all our cultures and civilizations teach us? Like whether it is a
That's
Mexican,
that. It seems like very simple. It seems like nature,
it
right?
seems like nature. And only now, in the past couple of decades, we have been saying, "Oh, we are individuals. We have a individual theory." Yes, we are individuals. We need our space, but beyond all that, we need a social structure.
No,
We
we
need a
agree.
Yeah.
family.
We can
Yeah.
we can have a very profound discussion on this new way of seeing life, like
Yes.
dividing the family nucleus, and which
No,
I
no.
think it's more like a
An
plan,
agenda.
like an
Yes.
agenda. But we can discuss that in person,
When you come to
uh,
Yeah.
Mexico.
And
because we
it's
have
it's
a couple of questions. Sorry,
sure.
sorry, sorry. We have
No,
a
I said
couple of questions
it's the same in
regarding.
Mexico and India. So I'm very happy about the fact that we think alike. We are separated by 30 hours of flight and
Yeah.
several continents, but we think so much alike.
Oh yeah, definitely, because I think Indian culture and Mexican culture are not so far away. We
No.
believe in family, we believe in good food, we believe in music, we believe in
Spirituality.
dancing. Yeah. So we have all these things in common. So that drives me to the next question that you're coming here. We are very pleased to have you
March.
and to work with you next March. But tell us what's going to happen in Mexico in March. Tell us and let the audience know what's happening.
What can they expect?
Yes. So primarily, what I want to get there is all the learnings that I have got from over years of study and practice and everything. Uh, I have done these workshops in different places, different countries, online, offline, in different ways as well. But I feel a strong connection with Mexico, to be very honest. I was in Mexico 2 years ago, and guess what? I went to only two cities, Ciudad de Mexico, and I went to Tulum. Okay, and when I went to Tulum, I thought I've come to India because Tulum is considered to be the yoga capital of the world. Okay, and I was surprised, and it also
You're coming from the yogi capital of the world.
yeah, and and I was also surprised when I saw the cenotes, okay, and when I saw the ruins, okay,
Oh
and I
yeah.
thought, yeah, and I thought that there is a lot of powerful energy here. You know, these ruins are built by those ancient people because they have places of energy on earth. Okay, so already I felt this strong connection, and I thought when I met a lot of Mexicans, I know, and whatever Spanish I speak. By the way, this time I've made it agenda that I'm going to conduct my workshops in Spanish, whatever,
Yeah.
how much ever I can speak. I can speak quite a bit of Spanish, and puedo hablar en español también, pero ahora no tengo tanto practicar, por eso ahora estoy hablando en inglés. Okay? Fine. So,
Sorry, Yogesh, pero es importante que la audiencia, nuestra audiencia sepa que cuando estés aquí, los talleres van a ser en español.
sí, sí, sí. Cuando estaré ahí, voy a hablar en español. Y I hope that all of you, all of us,
We'll be assisting you, don't worry.
yes, yeah, and not just us. I'm saying all of the people who are attending, we become like a family. La gran vida, la gran familia con la gran vida.
Señor.
And I always do that. So like for me, it is taking things that you carry, which you have, and sharing with the world. So I always believe that the teacher learns more than the student sometimes, or most of the times. So when I come to Mexico, there's going to be this happiness workshops where we are going to discuss a lot about what makes people happy and how you can be happy. Yes, there is going to be a lot of this theory coming from the happiness coaching, but more importantly, we are not just going to talk about it. We are going to do it and feel it at that point. So it's going to have, yes, because yes, and when I was a student, I realized when I was in school and colleges, I realized that however good the topic is, but if the teacher is boring, okay, I don't understand it or I go to sleep.
Yeah,
I
you
was
close your mind, of course.
I close my mind, or people close their mind. So from that day, I decided that whatever I want to do, or want to teach, or want to talk, or want to exchange, it has to be interesting. And that is how even different cultures have come up. Like different cultures have come up with music, dancing, emotional expressions, and everything, right? So the whole of the Happiness Factory, and thank you, La Gran Vida, for getting me to Mexico. What we are going to do is we are going to have all these elements: dancing, music, theater, art, storytelling, yoga, all these elements put together to help you understand how to live a better life, how to live a happier life, and how to make the people around you happy as well. Because when you give happiness, you receive happiness. So we are trying to build this community of happy people. And that is going to be the major source. And I guarantee you that I'm not saying you are unhappy, but even if you are happy, when you come there and you walk out, you're going to say, oh, wow, We've met some of the best people in the world. We've had some of the great experiences in the world. We wish that every day would be like this.
Yeah, I like to think that in March there will be a wave of happiness coming to
Yes,
Mexico, and we
yes,
can start this movement as we've discussed. This movement of happiness from Mexico to the world, trying to move to Latin America, and uh, I don't know, Yogesh. I have one more question, but I don't know if you want to finish your thoughts.
no, I think everyone who is listening, please make a note of this. In a few days, weeks, years, whatever, you will look back at this interview or at this podcast, and you're going to say, when you attend, you're going to say that we were a part of this revolution. We were the first ones who were a part of this revolution when this started in whether it is Monterrey or Guadalajara or San Miguel de Allende or CDM. Uh, we were a part of this first revolution. Like how if you look at Jeff Bezos or this guy, so you say that, oh, we were the first team of Google or Microsoft or whichever company. So you are going to look back and say that we were a part of this revolution when it started, and that's how we are going to take it forward.
That's fantastic, because the Happiness Factory and La Gran Vida, for sure, we are sharing most of our values, right? So we are part of the same revolution or evolution. So just to finish, this is one question that we ask everyone on our podcast. What does a great life means to Yogi? ¿Qué es la gran vida para Yogesh?
Okay, that's a very good question. I would say uh, a great life for me is to have the freedom to do things that I love. Okay, I love to travel to different places, meet different people, understand their background, and exchange happy habits and things that make them happy, right? So look at it this way: why are we thinking of making our whole life happy? Why don't we think of making small moments happy? Because when you make the now happy, and then the next moment becomes the now, so you are making this small uh, things in
Like
a
the
happy
shape.
place, then you are actually making your life happy. But if you think, oh, I want to be always happy, you're actually making yourself sad, because you
Of
are
course, that's a very deep and very profound thought
Happy,
that
happy
that
thought.
will make you unhappy.
yeah, you are running after happiness so much that you are making yourself sad and we're thinking that you're not happy. So my way of being happy is to make this moment happy. And I'll again give you an example. Last week I went for a grand Indian wedding, okay, which was one of my friend's daughters, and I had absolutely no idea. I was just planning to be there and enjoy the wedding, and then the music started, and then I started dancing, got everyone to dance like I did, and the next 2 days, not just the people who are attending there, but even the people who are serving food, who come from relatively poorer backgrounds, people who are serving food, people who are sweeping the floor, they came and told me, "Can we have a picture with you? Can we talk to you?" You know, and I had not done this with any intention. I had just done this with the intention that I want to be happy right now, and that intention made others happy, and they were sharing their happiness with me. So I would tell everyone that we are not doing any rocket science that we can make you happy. Only you can make yourself happy. We are only going to share the tools that can make you feel that way, and we are going to build this community which shares with each other the way of happiness. So my way of being happy is very simple: to be happy right now.
That's a great life. La gran vida es ser feliz en el momento presente, todos los momentos presentes de tu vida. Excellent.
See,
Aleli, Sorayita, what?
Hallelujah.
Aleli, Sorayita.
Muchísimas gracias, Yogi. Estaremos viéndonos y mientras tanto mantengamos con el corazón abierto y con la intención clara de ser feliz en este instante y compartir la felicidad con quien está al lado de ti.
Muchas
Okay.
gracias. Muchas gracias y un gran namaste. Okay?
Namaste.
Namaste. Do you know that namaste was used very much during the pandemic instead of shaking hands? And it has a special, yeah, it also has a special significance because your nerve endings are all in your fingers, right? So when you are joining this, you are connecting your left brain, right brain, and also being more happy. So anytime if you are feeling a bit stressed, and I'm just giving you this small secret before we start our happiness factory. Anytime if you feel a little bit, try doing this, and that's why clapping comes, because clapping is not actually appreciating, it's actually making us happy. So let's do this, clap and say oh, and meet in, yes, yeah, yes. We will discuss this in detail later when we meet in March, why I'm making you do this. It has a philosophy and a thing. But yes, thank you very much for getting me on this podcast. Looking forward to meet all of you. Muchos amos para ti y para los people who are watching this. Voy a venir a México pronto y nos encontramos pronto. Y yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Gracias por acompañarnos en este podcast. Te invitamos a que visites nuestra página www.lagranvida.com y te inscribas al programa 40 días para una gran vida y goces de la posibilidad de cambiar tu vida para siempre. Te esperamos.
Y nos vemos la próxima. Recuerda seguirnos en nuestras redes sociales y visitar www.lagranvida.com.